Well, hello. This is day two in New York, and what a day it's been. It's definitely been a day, I can certainly say that. It's been bloody boiling, I have to say, absolutely stonkingly boiling. No one else seems to be fazed by it, though. Maybe it's just me, I think, not coping awfully well with it. Yes, I started as I'm always going to have to start. By heading into the metro. It's still filthy, by the way, in what's possibly one of the most delicious, ironic twists that I've ever seen. I did, in fact, see a broom head in between the tracks. So I don't know whether somebody had tried to sweep up and then given up or lost the broom head in the grime, which is entirely possible. But that was there, and I did think they could have perhaps picked it up and actually used the damn thing. Yes, so I got in on the metro and did the usual route. So far I've tended to get off at Columbus Circle, and today was no different. So I had I got off there and had a quick stroll down to the Hudson River, down to the Hudson Shore, to do what I intended to do yesterday, to visit the Intrepid Air and Space Museum. As my throwback to the fact that I am still technically working on my degree. Very interesting exhibitions, not expeditions, as I have written down on my paper. I did successfully manage, and I think this was I felt quite triumphant about this, which probably tells you more about my life than you would like to know. But I did manage to bang my head on all but two of the bulkheads, which was quite impressive. I did consider going back and finishing the other two off as well, but I decided against it ultimately. I thought my head had suffered enough, to be quite honest. But it was lovely. I mean, there was an interesting exhibition inside the aircraft carrier on hangar deck 2 and 3, I think that was. It's lovely and cool in there, and you just want to stay in there, and it's nice to relax in that environment. And then, of course, you burst out onto the flight deck to see the stuff they have laid out on the flight deck, and it's bloody boiling again. Fair view from the skyline, and the nice planes. There's some very interesting planes. There was some very some of your classics. There was a helicopter. It was a Sea Cobra, which. I'd never realised quite how thin Sea Cobras were. It was next to a Huey, one of the old Bell Hueys, and they were talking about how the Sea Cobra, was a direct descendant of the Huey, and I think the first thing it must have done would be to go on a bit of a diet. Frankly, knowing the reputation that Americans have, I'm surprised that any of them can actually fit in it to pilot it. Actually, no, I have to say that I think that reputation is undeserved. I mean, the metro seats are in threes, and there are no armrests between them, which probably is indicative. But there's a sort of equal balance, not much worse than what I see back home. But anyway, on the deck you've got they've got a Blackbird there as well. One of the it's not actually an SR-71, it's an A-12, which is one of the sort of prototype ones. And I sort of overlooked that at first, and then I noticed it sitting there all threatening, and I was going to say threatening and black, but that's probably not the done thing. Threatening, it looked sort of like a sort of panther, sort of waiting to pounce on the plane next to it, which looked a bit nervous, to be honest. And there was a sort of leak under it as well, so I can only assume that it was truly terrified. And then I went in. Of course, they've got the Enterprise there, the space shuttle, the space shuttle prototype, I should say, which they negotiated off NASA, and that was wonderful. It was the first time I've seen one sort of in person. Very big, I have to say. I was very surprised. I don't think I ever quite realised how big they were. It was good to see it in place, and some interesting little exhibitions around that. There was one about Star Trek, of course, as you expect, because popular culture references. And so I got a few pictures of that, including some of my view-ruining selfies. I actually got more than the one that is displayed in this video, but they were all a bit dark, so I'm afraid you're just stuck with the one. after I left I had a quick drink there, not a proper drink, but yes, I had sat under the Concorde. They had the Concorde as a sort of basically an awning against the sun, which was quite nice. It was good to sit on there. So I went to sat there. Then after that, I went off to Ground Zero, to the 9/11 memorial. I'm not going to make any jokes about that. I don't think it's still a bit raw for that. I just I went along to sort of pay my tribute and see where all the chaos started, really. But they're making fine progress on the One World Trade Center, the new one, that's sort of replacing it so far as they can. I think it's quite symbolic. It's the symbolic big middle finger saying, doesn't matter how hard you knock us down, we'll always rebuild bigger, taller, and better. So it was nice to see that. Nice to see that going up. It was a very impressive building, and I have to say, I mean, it sort of caught home to me. It's quite amazing to think that actually most of New York, most of this sort of skyline at least, and most of this sort of high-rise building, almost all of them have been built in the past 100 years. I mean, it's 100 years worth of development, which is, I find, quite astonishing, really. I mean, just think, if we can throw together pretty much an entire city in 100 years, just think what we could do if we'd all stop fighting each other and just get to work as a species. I mean, that's one nation did that. It's not even the entire species. One nation did that. Just think, if we all got together and worked on something big, then where could we be? Where could we be? There you go. That's your question. Answers on a postcard, please. Where could we be? No rude answers. And no references to the Tower of Babel either. So then I headed on down to the financial district. I was sort of already there, so I headed on down into there. And the first thing I did actually when I got there was I bought a pair of sunglasses. I think there was a picture on this video of me wearing the sunglasses. Because it's all right when you're in London, or Montreal's even all right, because the buildings they're all concrete. They've got glass in them, but they're sort of at a low level. But here it's all mirrored glass and chrome and glass, just normal glass, and I don't know, Roman glass and stained glass and glass of beer and all sorts. And it's really irritating because you're walking around, and where you would usually not have to worry about it, you're blinded. I mean, I now don't have eyes. Which is a little inconvenient because I am still supposed to be touring this place for a good while, and now I'm not going to be able to see anything. What I have now are sort of blackened pits where my eyes once were, thanks to all the reflected rays. So I bought a pair of sunglasses, and I think they're going to come in handy. Actually, I mean, I'm complaining about the heat here. I'm sort of steadfastly trying to ignore the fact that. In 2 weeks or so time, I'm going to be in Las Vegas in the middle of the Mojave Desert. I'm trying to ignore that for now. And more to the point, I'm going to spend 5 hours on a bus driving through the same desert, which is going to be interesting for one such as me who deals with heat in about the same way as an ice cream. So I went to the financial district, went onto Wall Street, didn't see any wolves there, but there were plenty of sort of businessmen marching about, looking very very businesslike, I suppose, is the only best way of saying that. And there was something, I visited the New York Stock Exchange. Now, there's actually something very interesting. I didn't realise that the New York Stock Exchange, and there is a picture again associated with this, I'm not sure where it is, I will try and move it to an appropriate place. But I didn't realise the New York Stock Exchange is actually just a small chipboard shack. You see it in the movies, and it looks really grand. It looks really, really grand. And then you go there, and it's just this little sort of chipboard shack that's got a sign above it and a flag. And it's quite astonishing, really, that they've managed to build the biggest financial stock exchange in the world. It really is a tiny thing, and I find that quite incredible, I have to say. But I had a quick stroll after that down to the Brooklyn Bridge, obviously not far from Wall Street, so I walked down to the end and had a look at the Brooklyn Bridge. Very impressive. Didn't actually take any pictures of that. I'm terribly sorry. If I end up in that direction again, I shall be sure to do so. And then I sort of drifted back a bit because it was getting getting towards food time. I didn't actually have any lunch today, so I ate a little earlier. I drifted back into to head centrally, but then rain started. We had a bit of a thunderstorm, so I ducked into somewhere for under the pretext of having food, but partially to hide from the rain, I have to admit. It was very good food, I have to say, a lovely atmosphere in that place. I actually have a picture of that as well, which it was very sort of homely, I have to say. Yes, but so I know that was very nice. Nice staff there. They were very friendly as well. I noticed some of the staff over here can be a bit snippy at times. I suppose it's dealing with all those tourists, but they can be. But I headed out again, and it was still raining when I left, so I ended up walking. I couldn't find the metro station, so I ended up walking. I don't know how far I walked in the pouring rain, but it was impressive. I looked like I was taking part in a wet T-shirt contest, which is probably something that an image that you will desperately want to purge from your minds. But no, the other thing you need to do on the metro is, as well as clean it, is you need to go through signs, because at the moment it's all sort of low-level stuff that you can't actually see until you're falling down the stairs into it, which is a little irritating. But I got onto the metro to come back to Billet, as it were, and I was covered in aphids. And I don't know, I've managed to get rid of most of them, although I have just noticed one crawling up the wall in front of me. And I'm not sure exactly where I picked those up. I suppose it might have been off on Wall Street, and they're just milking it for all it's worth. A bit of an entomological joke there for any entomologists among you. If anyone wants me to explain it, I will do so in the next one, just let me know. Yeah, it was always packed. It was the busiest metro I've seen so far. And unlike yesterday, I forgot to mention there was a man on the metro who got on and did a sort of musical tour of the world, which was quite interesting. Not worth paying for, but maybe that's just me being snobbish. But yes, and he did a nice little sort of musical tour of the world, which was very interesting. And there wasn't anything like that today. The closest I got was alternately listening to somebody whispering. I don't know what they were whispering to the baby, but it didn't seem to be enjoying it all that much. Or somebody's headphones on at full volume, blasting out. Again, I don't know what it was they were blasting out, but it was clearly not impressing the baby or many other people in the carriage. And so I walked back to Billet. Only took one wrong turn on the way back, but I'm here now and already overheating. So, that was day 2. Day 2 was a very interesting day. I don't know what I've got planned for tomorrow. I need to have a look and see what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to do the Statue of Liberty at some point. It depends what the weather's like, because I think we've got thunderstorms scheduled, and so I'll probably be needing a lot of indoor stuff tomorrow. So I think I'll check out some more of the museums. I know we've got the Natural History Museum, which I'd quite like to check out, see how it compares to the one in London. My guess being that it doesn't in any way. And yes, so I shall speak to you again tomorrow, and we'll see what sort of anecdotes come out of that. Goodbye for now. Enjoy the pictures. Usual procedure. They'll also be up on Facebook. I will find somewhere else public to put them as well, for anyone who doesn't have access to my Facebook. But for now, good night, or good morning as it is over there. Enjoy yourselves, and keep on keeping on. There we go. That was conclusive. Bye for now.